morning, and it's another beautiful Wednesday morning on JDN Radio 101.5 FM. For the newspaper review, I am Abiodun Samson, and this morning I'm here with 4 dailies: The Punch, The Nation, Nigerian Tribune, and also some from Daily Post for this morning. So if you are just tuning in, you are right on time. And now I will be starting with the Punch newspaper for this morning, the 15th of April 2026. I will be starting with the headlines that made it to the front page of the Punch newspaper for this morning. And I have this that said, ADC convention, Mark Atiku, Aregbesola tackle Tinubu on hardship, insecurity. Alleged coup, detained soldiers' wives demand justice. Akpabio links terror attacks to plot against Tinubu. Chibok girls remembered in emotion-laden photo exhibition. Federal government spent 75 billion naira on arms amid worsening insecurity. Nigerians' debts hit 159.28 trillion naira on fresh loans. FAAC deduction got 41% of 84 trillion naira revenue in 3 years. Moving forward to the Nigerian Tribune for this morning, the 15th of April 2026, I have this on the front page that says, ADC won't surrender to tyranny, says David Mark. And I have this rider underneath that says, renewed hope is a scam, says Aregbesola. And also, we will win 2027 elections. This is said by Atiku. And Nigeria heading to disaster with huge debt, says Obi. And also on the Nigerian Tribune under the rider, it says party needs viable candidate to defeat Tinubu. And this is said by Amechi. And court orders parties to maintain status quo in state chairman suit. And all of this is on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune for this morning. And still on that page, Olubadan, Ajimobi, others denying plot to impeach Makinde. With these riders that says no money exchange ends in impeachment plot. And this is said by Oyo Speaker. Olubadan throne should not be dragged into dirty politics, says Oba Ladoja. And also the rider that says, I did not convene, attend, participate in any such meeting, says Ajimobi. And also I have this that says, stop peddling rumors, says ex Oyo Speakers warns Ogundoyin. And all of these are on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune for this morning. Newspaper review on your dial 101.5 FM, JDN Radio, and I'm moving forward to The Nation for this morning with this headline that says NRC raised tax revenue from 7 111 billion naira to 3.6 trillion naira in 2 years. And also, IMF recapitalization of banks buffer against global shocks. ADC expel Nafiu Bala, Abejibe, others. And also, don't give Ondo South senatorial slot to Ilaje Eseodo. And also on The Nation, federal government plans support for Jili market bombing victims. And from Daily Post this morning, I have this headline that says, UCDA demolishes illegal structures in Omaya. Your tenure, time-bound, Fayose cautioned Makinde over alleged plot to remove Olubado. And also on Daily Post, CDHR raises concerns over redeployment of INEC rec ahead of Osun polls. Alright, so right about now, I will be giving us the stories from the headline that made it to the front page of the Punch newspaper for this morning. So I have this headline, ADC convention, Mark Atiku Aregbesola tackle Tinubu on hardship in security. The embattled national chairman of the African Democratic Congress, former Senate President David Mark, former Governor Rauf Aregbesola, the ADC National Secretary, and other party leaders have declared that there would be no easy victory for President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 general election. Speaking at the party's national convention themed So That Nigeria May Work, held on Tuesday in Abuja, the ADC leaders strongly criticized the Tinubu-led administration over the worsening insecurity and economic hardship in the country, insisting that Nigerians were facing unprecedented level of suffering. Other ADC leaders, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former governors Peter Obi Anambra and Rotimi Amechi Rivers, described the security situation as deteriorating, alleging that poverty has more than doubled under the present administration. However, the factions of the ADC led by Nafiu Bala dismissed the Abuja convention, stating that their own bloc would hold a separate convention after the Supreme Court's judgment. On April 1st, INEC announced the delisting of key ADC figures, including Mark and Aregbesola, from its official register. The commission explained that the actions was taken in compliance with a court order directing it to preserve the status quo pending and final determination of the case at the trial court. And the story continues on the Punch newspaper for this morning. On the Punch newspaper, alleged coup detained soldiers' wives demand justice. For For over 6 months, they have watched their husbands' names splashed across the media over an alleged coup plot. With tears and trembling voices, the distracted wives of the 10 military officers recount the moment before their spouses were arrested in conversation. On October 4th, 2025, the Defense Headquarters disclosed that 16 senior officers drawn from the Nigerian Army, Navy and Air Force has been taken into custody over alleged breaches of military regulations and acts of indiscipline. At that time, authorities downplayed speculations describing the arrest as an internal affair, but what follows deepened the intrigues. An interim investigation later pointed to a far more serious allegations, the existence of a clandestine network of officers reportedly involved in preliminary plans for a coup. The alleged plot includes surveillance of key national assets such as the presidential villa, the armed forces complex, Niger barracks in Abuja, and major international airports, with October 25, 2025 cited an tentative date to strike. Those reportedly detained include Brigadier General M.A. Sadiq, Colonel M.A. Maj, Lieutenant Colonel S. Baffa, Lieutenant Colonel A.H. Ayatul, Lieutenant Colonel P. Dangab, Lieutenant Colonel Amakura, Major A.J. Ibrahim, Major M.M. Jida, Major M.A. Usman, Major General D. Yusuf, Captain Bello, Captain A.H. Yusuf, Lieutenant S.S. Felix, Lieutenant Dr. B. Abdullahi, and the name continues on the Punch newspaper for this morning. You can grab it and check out all the names for today, the 15th of April, 2026. Akpabio links terror attacks to plot against Tinubu. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, on Tuesday in Abuja said the intensified spat of terrorist attack across the country is a gang up to distract President Bola Tinubu's reform. Akpabio made the assertion during his goodwill message at the official inauguration of the Nigerian Revenue Service headquarters, Abuja. He said, "Believe me, Mr. President, 2 weeks after you win the election 2027, the bomb blast will stop. People are sponsoring it to distract you from your work. You are doing so well despite the gang up on your administration." His comments comes barely 24 hours after Tinubu held closed-door talks with the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, and a French general at the presidential villa in Abuja. And the story continues on the Punch newspaper for this morning. And moving forward to the nation for this morning, with this headline that says NRS raised tax revenue from 711 billion naira to 3.6 trillion naira in 2 years. President Tinubu, the Nigerian Revenue Service. The federal government yesterday outlined the gain from its revenue and tax reforms, which have seen monthly revenue rise by 411.3%, with strong revenue collections across key agencies. Total monthly revenue, which stood at 711 billion in May 2023, grew to 3.635 trillion naira by September 2025, according to Executive Chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Service, Zak Adedeji. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says the reform were designed to build a solid and a sustainable revenue governance framework for the country's long-term prosperity. The president and the NRS executive chairman spoke at the inauguration at the NRS headquarters in Abuja. The event attracted top government functionaries from the executive, legislature, and subnational levels. Data provided by the NRS shows a historic rise in revenue connection, with total revenue increasing from 6.41 trillion naira in 2021 to 28.79 trillion naira in 2025, representing more than fourfold growth within the period. Also, the tax system has expanded significantly, with over 19 million taxpayers now captured, with about 814,000 new corporate taxpayers added. President Tinubu says the country was already witnessing improvement on fiscal stability, foreign reserves, trade system, and investor confidence, all outcomes of deliberate policies and sustained effort. And the story continues on The Nations for this morning. Still on The Nation with this headline that says IMF recapitalizations of banks buffers against global shock. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) yesterday applauded the just concluded bank recapitalization in Nigeria. The strategic impact of the policy, it said, is paying off by providing buffer against global shocks. The applause came from IMF Financial Counselor, Director of Monetary Capital Market Department, Tobias Andrain, while representing the Global Financing Stability Report at the ongoing World Bank IMF Spring Meeting in Washington, D.C. It came 14 days after the Central Bank of Nigeria drew the curtains on bank recapitalization. Andrain says the capital raised by Nigerian banks will be significantly helpful in times of stress, keeping them better capitalized against external shock. The IMF director says, of course, it is in time of stress where the value of banks' capital really comes to the fore, right? So while we are aiming at the global financial stability, is a banking sector that is capitalized against adverse shock. So yes, bank recapitalizations are very welcome and are paying off, particularly under times of stress. And the story continues on The Nations for this morning. Still on The Nation, ADC expels Nafi Bala, Abejide orders. African Democratic Congress ADC interim national chairman Senator David Mark yesterday said the opposition party will not bow to intimidation and pressures from any quarters. He said, "We will not surrender, we will not retreat," he said, as he declared open the maiden national conventions of the party in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. What is at stake is not just about the ADC or the opposition, it is the very survival of democracy, Mark added. The interim national secretary, Chief Rauf Aregbesola, who gave a report on the activities of the party, alleged that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, under the leadership of Professor Ojo Apumiton, has become a theater of illegality and criminality. The convention was held in an atmosphere of anxiety on the day ADC resumes its legal battle over its protracted leadership tussles. Also, ADC is locked in battle with the electoral agency over the withdrawal of recognition from MAC and Aregbesola as party leaders. And the story continues on The Nations for this morning. As you know that we want you to be part of the newspaper review on JDN Radio 101.5 FM, and we are live on our social medias on Facebook on JDN Radio 101.5 FM and also on YouTube, JDN Radio 101.5 FM. And also our website is there on www.jdnradio1015.com, and also on Radio Garden, JDN Radio 101.5 FM. So if you have any reactions or any comment, you can drop it on every of our social media, and you can also pull a code through into the studio on 070-48001015 and 080-2210-2163. 070-48001015 and 080-2210-2163 to be part of the conversation on the newspaper review for this morning. This is from our page on JDN Radio 101.5 FM on Facebook, and this is coming from Dr. Mrs. Olibara from Owerri. She said Nigerians are perpetually groaning, embarrassingly trapped, wandering and gallivanting aimlessly without proper nurturing and guidance. Education and the financial institutions have failed, and she said governance is in a mess, and she said corruption has soared to high heavens. Shall we continue to lament and self-pity? And that was our comment for this morning. And also we also have Mr. Afolabi Shigo joining us this morning on the newspaper review. And I will be taking this from Daily Post with this headline that says UCDA demolishes illegal structures in Omaya. Almost 50 unapproved structures comprising of shops, shanties, containers and projections have been demolished by the Omaya Capital Development Authority in the Abia State capital. The demolitions were carried out on Saturday, Monday, Tuesday at the ShopRite area by railway line roundabout of junctions by Benden Road Tower. The demolition is coming about 2 months after the UCDA announces its determination to remove all illegal structures defacing the beauty of Umaya, the state capital. And the story is on Daily Post for this morning. And also this from Daily Post that says, you failed as governor, minister, presidency slams Aregbesola over attacks on Tinubu. Special advisor of President Bola Tinubu in information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, has dismissed the African Democratic Congress ADC as a gathering of desperate politicians without a clear national agenda. Ononuga spoke while reacting to ADC Chief 10 Rauf Aregbesola criticism of Tinubu's government during the party's national convention in Abuja on Tuesday. It was reported that the national secretary of the ADC, Aregbesola, described the APC-led administration renewed up agenda as a classic scam. Reacting to this on a post shared on his X handles, Ononuga wrote, "No, Rauf. The real scammers are the politicians inside the SPV called APC. Ononuga accused Aregbesola of repeating opposition talking points and attempting to distort the government's records. And this story continues on Daily Post for this morning. And that will be all I'll be taking this morning on the newspaper review on JDN Radio 101.5 FM. And if you have any reactions or you have news that would strike a reactions from you, do not forget that the newspaper review will come up in Yoruba language translation in the next 5 minutes. And that I'm telling you that you should not take it from that dial, from this frequency, JDN Radio 101.5 FM. So you can pull a call through then and give them your reactions and let us know your opinion about the stories that made it to the front page of the dailies for this morning. And do not forget that the newspaper review continues tomorrow, same time, 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on your dial 101.5 FM JDN Radio. I am Abiodun Sampson, and keep sticking to the radio station that is the only one that is broadcasting for all.